Hi everyone, welcome back to Total War Therapy, and when you will watch this video I will be out of the country away, so I will not be able to make content related to the Omens of Destruction new DLC, but I will do them next week. So now, before I'm leaving, I wanna do this video where I explain to you every lion of Grand Cathay. So take a seat. Please consider to subscribe and let's start. Let's begin with the Jade Lion. We will have a first look at its stats and then we will talk about its own unique and special abilities. The armor or 70 is quite solid, it doesn't require excessive micromanagement, but at the same time is not made to absorb damage, so it's not a tank. The speed of 75 is good enough to defend the flanks of your missile units and artillery, even from heavy cav, but I would not suggest to use it to chase light cavalry over the battlefield. The melee attack and defense are the best ones within the Lion's roster of Grand Cathay, and he has magical attacks, so perfect against demon. The melee attack of 55 and the weapon strength armor piercing of 400 are very good against the character and special units like heavy infantry, heavy cavalry, but it's as I said, it's a support, so not use it as a tank. Use it to deal damage to units that are already distracted by your infantry and so on. The charge bonus is not impressive, but still a thing. Now let's talk about the ability. First is the Jade Lion is a young unit, so it will increase its power when it's close to artillery and missile units overall. That's why it's perfect to flank and to defend the flanks of your unit, of your weak unit. Now we can talk about the magic ability of the Jade Lion. First, the Jade Lion's breath. It's a breath, so just a spell that you can use it a couple of times in the battle, and it's quite useful. At the end, it's just a magic, but it's for free, so why not use it? And it can deal a good amount of damage. Then the Jade Conduit. Basically, the mere presence of the Jade Lion in the battlefield will grant you a power recharge of 20% that will help your spellcaster, and it has also the mastery of elemental winds. So with another spellcaster in the battlefield, you will have even more increased spells about their powerness. Then it's a construct, and this is a bad thing, and it's the same for the Jade Lions. Being a construct means that they have they're immune to fear and terror, but at the same time, when the leadership is broken, they will start to cause damage to themselves, even severe when the leadership will be shattered. They are striders, so very good in the forest, and the causes just fear. This is important, just fear, not terror. With a little missile resistance of 50%, we can close the card of these units. It's quite good, I like to use it a lot in my game. As I said, you have to consider that it's not a very high tier unit, is not a colossal monster, but as a little single entity, he can do his part very well. Now let's talk about the Jade Lion. The Jade Lion has the same stats of Jade Lion, except the melee attack and melee defense. In this case, the Jade Lion is more defensive, so it will have an increased melee defense and a lower attack, and it's more tanky than the Jade Lion. In this case, you can use it always as a support unit, but more to absorb damage than deal with that. Then he doesn't have the magical attack, but he has this ability called Disrupted that basically give less physical resistance to the units that is fighting, and they silence them, so they are not able to use spells and abilities in their presence, and this is a very effective effect. Talking about its abilities, as I said, it's very different from the Jade Lion. First is a yin unit, so it will have increased stats when it's in the presence or melee units. So it's perfect to support your front line, for example, because you will have better stats close to them. He has the Missile Mirror. This is basically a spell that will deflect and reflect the missile attack of the enemy against themselves. This is actually a spell of the Yin lore of magic, and it can be very useful. It requires a little of management to use it, but it can be very strong as a support ability. And then he has the Guardian Shield. So basically it will grant spell resistance to all the nearby allies, and it will negate magical weapons to all his enemies. This is a complex effect. Is not very, because you need to have a unit to protect that has an actual physical resistance, so it will be more vulnerable to magical attack, but in not that case it's less useful. But still, it causes fear. He's a strider, so he will have no forest penalty, the missile resistance, and it will be a construct. So as we said, when the leadership will be broken, it will cause damage to itself, and that's very bad. But he had also a spell resistance of 50%. And as you know, the spells and magic overall, they are more they affect more the game than we actually think. So this is a very nice ability. I hope it's clear that the Jade Lion and the Jet Lion are very different. You have to use them in very different way. They grant very different effects, so don't ever think that it's the same unit, that just a reskin. It's a reskin, yes, but for the abilities, the stats overall, they are so completely different units. Now let's talk about the Celestial Lion. Now let's talk about the Celestial Lion. Added with a new patch of Shadows of Change, he's not a construct, so will not suffer when the leadership is broken, and at the same time it causes terror, not only fear. And this is important because, as you know, if the fear just causes a reducing leadership in the enemy, the terror can make them root very easily if they are already, you know, with a little leadership. He's faster than the other lions because it flies, basically, and the armor is slightly better, and the health is better too, but very slightly. The melee stats, both attack and defense, are lesser than the Jade Lions, and in the case of the Jet Lion, just the attack is a little better, but not to consider that. And the weapon strength is bigger, it's 450, always armor piercing, and this is most important because it will deal. It's less tanky, but it will deal more damage to characters, calves, and so on. The charge bonus is even better because it's 65 compared to the 40 of the other lions, and this with the flying ability, it will cause severe damage when charging. He has some ability very different from the other lions attack. He will take the missile resistance, and it will be a young unit. So as the same as the Jade Lions, it's better to use it close on the nearby of missile units. Then he will have the Wounded Pride, so when his hit point will be less than 50%, he will have an augment in his stats of melee attack and weapon strength overall, and then he will have the Fearsome Roar. This is an ability with a good range that will basically reduce the leadership of your enemy, and it will removes the immune to psychology effect. So very strong against Lanesh. You should try it. Now, after studying that carefully the stats and abilities of all these huge beasts of Grand Cathay, I can tell you that they are very different. They have the same price overall and they are all lions, but at the same time they have huge differences. They make their purpose in the battlefield very special and unique. Thank you for following me. I really enjoy to make this kind of video, and I hope to get to make more in the future. Please consider to subscribe, and see you very soon with the new videos, content related to the next DLC, Omens of Destruction.